It's the kind of story that seems tailor-made for Hollywood gossip. At 88 years old, Jack Nicholson, retired from the world and speaking only his truth, finally names the 6 actors he couldn't stand. The iconic sunglasses are still in place, but the filter is gone. For decades, he was the untamable spirit of American cinema, the charismatic wolf with a grin that could be either charming or chilling. With a record 12 Academy Award nominations and 3 wins, his legacy is etched in celluloid. But is this story of a hate list actually true? The idea is tantalizing, that in a candid conversation, Nicholson broke his silence, naming names and settling old scores. This isn't just about celebrity gossip, it's a narrative that taps into our fascination with one of the industry's titans. But the truth is, no such list has ever been confirmed by any credible source. Instead, what we have is a collection of on-set legends, misunderstood conflicts, and outright rumors that have been mistaken for fact. So, let's peel back the layers of myth and find the real story behind the 6 names on this supposed list, and what these rumored feuds truly reveal about Hollywood's last true rebel. The first name on this supposed list is perhaps the most shocking and personal, Marlon Brando. This wasn't just a feud, it was the painful crumbling of an idol. For a young Jack Nicholson, Brando was a revolutionary force who shattered the veneer of old Hollywood. For a time, they were even friends and neighbors on Mulholland Drive, a stretch that came to be known as Bad Boy Drive. Their collaboration on the 1976 western, The Missouri Breaks, should have been a monumental passing of the torch. Instead, for Nicholson, it turned into a profound disappointment. The Brando who showed up on set was, by many accounts, a shadow of his former self, seemingly lazy and contemptuous of the craft he had revolutionized. The stories from that set are infamous. Brando, then one of the highest-paid actors in the world, allegedly refused to learn his lines, having them written on cue cards and placed all over the set, sometimes even reportedly on the foreheads of his co-stars. For Nicholson, an actor who prized spontaneity and the electric connection between performers, this was a deep professional betrayal. Acting, to him, was a responsive, improvisational art form, and Brando was simply phoning it in for a massive paycheck. The dream collaboration had turned into a nightmare. While there's no evidence Nicholson ever hated Brando, he continued to speak of him as one of the greats. The experience on the Missouri Breaks taught him a bitter lesson: even the greatest talent can be corrupted by apathy. Another name often linked to on-set conflict with Nicholson is his co-star from The Shining, Shelley Duvall. However, framing this as a feud born of hatred is a dramatic misreading of the situation. The conflict on that set wasn't between the actors, it was a result of the notoriously grueling environment created by director Stanley Kubrick. The shoot lasted for over a year, with Kubrick, a relentless perfectionist, demanding an astonishing number of takes for even the simplest scenes. This process was especially brutal for Shelley Duvall. Kubrick was relentlessly hard on her, pushing her to a state of genuine hysteria to capture the terror of Wendy Torrance. The stress was so immense that it was rumored her hair began to fall out. Nicholson, meanwhile, had a different process, one that relied on instinct and a collaborative jazz between performers. But according to reports, Duvall's genuine distress, while brilliant for her character, disrupted this rhythm. Instead of a creative partner, Nicholson was faced with an exposed nerve. This wasn't a personal animosity, it was a frustration with a working process that stifled his improvisational style. In reality, Nicholson and Duvall were friends off-camera, often sharing a drink and discussing the day's work. He was sympathetic to what she was going through and later acknowledged the power of her sacrifice, reportedly calling her performance the emotional heart of the film. The conflict wasn't with Duvall, but with a process that, in pursuit of perfection, sacrificed the spontaneous magic he lived for. From the chaos of The Shining, we turn to the rigid precision of a military courtroom and the next name on the alleged list, Tom Cruise. Their famous confrontation in A Few Good Men is a masterclass in screen tension, but the rumor of a feud is a clash of two Hollywood philosophies, not two men. Nicholson was seen as the last of the Hollywood wolves, unpredictable and fueled by instinct. Cruise, on the other hand, was the prototype of the new superstar, flawlessly prepared and relentlessly professional. According to Hollywood law, Nicholson found Cruise's approach to be technically precise but sterile. Cruise arrived on set with every line and gesture meticulously rehearsed. Nicholson, by contrast, wanted to discover the performance on set, not bring a prepackaged one. The popular quote attributed to Nicholson, "If you want consistency, go work at a bank," perfectly captures this rumored artistic divide, though it remains unverified. During the filming of their famous courtroom scene, reports suggest Nicholson would subtly change his performance with each take, searching for a crack in Cruise's fortress of preparation. Cruise, a model of consistency, never wavered. While there's no evidence of genuine hatred, the story persists because it represents a changing of the guard. Tom Cruise has spoken with admiration about working with Nicholson, praising his command and craftsmanship. For his part, Nicholson reportedly respected Cruise's work ethic, but saw in him the symbol of a new, safer Hollywood, one where the wild, unpredictable soul of acting was being engineered out of existence. Not all conflicts are myths. Sometimes, a clash of wills is so intense it becomes the stuff of legend, which brings us to Faye Dunaway. The battlefield was the set of The Two Jakes, the 1990 sequel to the masterpiece Chinatown. The pressure was immense, and this time, Nicholson was not only starring but also directing. It would be his final time in the director's chair, an experience reportedly so scarring that it extinguished his desire to direct again. Dunaway, a powerhouse actress who created an unforgettable character in the original, returned for flashback sequences. On set, it was a clash of two titans. Nicholson, as the director, needed to be the ultimate authority, but Dunaway was not an actress who simply took orders. The production was reportedly plagued by a brutal battle of wills, a constant power struggle between two colossal egos. Every decision became a confrontation. For Nicholson the actor, this might have been a thrilling challenge. For Nicholson the director, managing the budget, crew, and expectations while battling his star was an exhausting drain. The film was ultimately met with a lukewarm reception, and the experience taught Nicholson a harsh lesson about the difference between being a star and a leader. The feud with Faye Dunaway didn't just end a movie, it reportedly ended his career as a director. If the conflict with Dunaway was about warring egos, the next story is about the opposite, a director whose control was supposedly so absolute it stifled his legendary star. The film was the 2001 thriller The Pledge, and the director was Sean Penn. The rumor goes that Penn, known for his own intense acting style, micromanaged Nicholson, dictating every glance and gesture to achieve a specific bleak realism. This approach was supposedly anathema to Nicholson's spontaneous style, leading to the reported on-set quote, "What's the point of hiring Jack Nicholson if you want a puppet?" However, this entire narrative appears to be a myth. In interviews, Nicholson praised Penn and their collaboration. He described their working relationship as easy and communicative, stating that Penn, being a great actor himself, knew exactly what was needed to get the best out of his performers. Nicholson was proud of the film, calling it gutsy and a welcome change from bland garbage. Penn, in turn, spoke of Nicholson as a mentor and encouraged his artistic input. The Puppet Master story makes for good drama, but the facts point to a relationship built on mutual respect and shared artistic goals. Finally, we come to the man who is, in many ways, the heir to Nicholson's throne, Leonardo DiCaprio. Their orbits collided in Martin Scorsese's 2006 masterpiece, The Departed. On screen, their chemistry as a terrifying mob boss and a tortured undercover cop was electric. Behind the scenes, the rumors pointed to a familiar clash of acting styles. DiCaprio was seen as the evolution of the prepared, disciplined star. Nicholson, according to the law, found him too safe, too insulated from the genuine chaos he thrived on. This brings us to one of modern Hollywood's most persistent and wildest rumors, that during an intense scene, Nicholson, frustrated by a perceived lack of genuine fear from his co-star, pulled out a real gun to provoke a real reaction. This story, while dramatic, is almost certainly an exaggeration born from Hollywood legend. While Scorsese confirmed Nicholson did unexpectedly pull out a gun to heighten the tension, he and DiCaprio have both spoken of the moment as a memorable and effective acting choice, not a dangerous threat. There's no evidence of true animosity. Nicholson saw a brilliant actor in DiCaprio, but perhaps also the final victory of the carefully managed brand over the unpredictable artist. He was the old wolf, looking at the new king of the jungle and seeing not a predator, but a perfectly groomed show animal. So there you have it. Marlon Brando, the disappointing idol. Shelley Duvall, the victim of a brutal process. Tom Cruise, the perfect machine. Faye Dunaway, the immovable object. Sean Penn, the respected collaborator, and Leonardo DiCaprio, the heir apparent. This secret list was never real. It's a collection of rumors, legends, and a few kernels of truth, all woven together to explain a singular force of nature. These stories aren't really about who Jack Nicholson hated, they are about what he valued: risk, discipline, spontaneity, and authenticity. Of course, collaboration is a two-way street. Actors like Ray Winston have been blunt about their difficult experiences working with Nicholson, calling him arrogant and rude. Nicholson demanded greatness, and that intensity inevitably creates friction. This fictional list, then, isn't a burned book. It's a manifesto of perception. It's the testament of an artist whose philosophy was so uncompromising that it spawned its own mythology, leaving us to forever debate what is real and what is simply part of the legend of Jack. So, what do you think? Are these stories just Hollywood gossip, or do they reveal a deeper truth about what it takes to be a true cinematic legend? Was Jack Nicholson an uncompromising artist defending his craft, or a difficult star from a bygone era? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love uncovering the truth behind Hollywood's biggest legends, make sure to subscribe for more stories like this one.